So often today, people, they have their guns out. They have their gun out. And by this, I mean they have this. They're pointing the finger. So as a Sunday school teacher, one of the basic things that I teach is that, there's these three things. And when you're pointing a finger at another human being, there's three fingers pointing back at you at all times. And the less mature you are, okay, let me say that a little, the more immature the person is, the more comfortable they are in affixing blame. So you'll see people, there's a problem, there's a crisis, and it's typically in families, it's how their pattern of being, they'll figure out who to blame. And they all talk about that person behind their back, and they've all figured out who's responsible for the problem. Those are a bunch of little kids. Really childish behavior is so toxic. So demonstrating how childish and immature someone is. If the way to cope with the situation and become comfortable is to figure out who to blame. So one of the strategies in Al-Anon is to get people kind of outside of themselves, get them in a loving situation, and get them away from all that toxic noise, the airwaves that are full with accusations and an attempt to make people feel guilty or ashamed, attempts to shift responsibility onto shoulders, just all of this strife, all of this emotional, intellectual, spiritual strife. Kind of get in a quiet place and go, well, people tell me I'm blah blah blah, and I think I am, and it's like a tangled web, and untangle the web and go, well, who really are you? Good and bad and ugly. What are you responsible for? And what are you not responsible for? Let's sort it out. And let's do this together. And for people, how often they run away from this. They just avoid this. They're terrified. Um, this is such a beautiful process, walking through the 12 steps with a sponsor. That fourth step is something no one should miss out on in life. You should do it and do it again, and hopefully be in a place where you can be a sponsor and work through the steps with other people and continue the process of self-reflection. So here we go, May 4th. Who am I? When I came to Al-Anon, I thought I knew the answer to that question, but I discovered that my answers were all out of date because I had long ago stopped asking myself who I was. I could tell you about the addicts and everyone else in my life, their likes and dislikes, opinions, feelings, but I had no such answers for myself. Al-Anon gave me the 12 steps with which to rediscover myself, making a searching and fearless moral inventory of myself and sharing it with a trusted friend. Steps 4 and 5 were especially helpful. It was the first time in a long time I had paid so much attention to myself. I also learned about myself by listening in meetings. When I identified with others, I gained insight into my own thoughts and feelings. Today, I know that I am passionate, generous, opinionated, moody, honest, tactful, stubborn person. I know how I feel and what I think on an assortment of topics, and I am aware when these thoughts and feelings change. Al-Anon has given me back the only thing that was ever really mine to keep, myself. Today's reminder: recovery is a wonderful word. It means getting something back. Today, I will try to remember that something is me. The quote is, if a man happens to find himself, he has a mansion which he can inhabit with dignity all the days of his life. And that's from James Minchner. What a beautiful image of inhabiting yourself in a beautiful way. I love it when I come across people and you see their personality, their character, kind of their distinctness, even if they're shy and, they're quite reserved. I love it, that I can be around people and recognize their distinct individuality and see that they are completely comfortable in their own skin. They make no apologies to anyone for who they are. They're living, eating, and breathing. They're at a place of peace. And this can happen no matter how you've conducted your life. And quite possibly, if you've been in the throes of addiction for years and you've done a lot of damage to yourself and others, those individuals can be some of the most joyful people you'll ever know because they've been in prison and they're free. Blessings on your day.